Welcome back to Ask a Foster Parent Anything. I'm a little sad today, and I'll tell you why. There are times when I feel invincible and I feel very strong and I feel like I can beat that ugly monster called foster care. I've been fighting it for a long time as I advocate for foster parents and foster youth and families. Yes, I actually do advocate for families because as I got to meet some of the families in foster care, whose kids are in foster care, I got that they just might have done some stupid things, but they really wanted their kids back. And what we've done in foster care is we made it very difficult for them to get their kids back. We asked them to jump over many hurdles. And the general public don't know this. But we asked them to jump over hurdles that sometimes it's almost impossible for them to compete or complete. I use compete because it's almost like a game. And it's a game that we play. And I'm not sure why we do. I'm not sure why we go to court and we pretend that we're there for the safety of the kids when we're splitting them up and putting them in several different foster homes, where sometimes they're even safer being back in their own homes. And despite our best efforts, despite the years of arguing in court, despite the big battles and debates that goes on in that 3-minute court session, when those kids turn 18, they all want to go home. If the Antoine Fisher movie did not teach us anything, he wanted to go home. Now, home did not work for him, but he eventually found relatives that he could live with. That was a lesson in the movie also. I'm a little sad. I don't think I have that invincibility today that I generally have, where I have my shield and my sword and I'm fighting foster care. Today I feel clawed and defeated. I'm trying to understand why we are rushing these kids to adoption, although being in foster care is not a good thing for them. I'm trying to understand foster parents who really don't get that these kids want to be with each other. We lie too much in foster care. And unfortunately, foster parents are the people who lie. They lie about how the siblings can't be together because they fight. Show me a family who's not fighting. Show me a family or an adult who grew up who did not fight his brother or sister at some point. That's not a reason to split up a family. Reason number 2 they give sometimes is bad influence. I have absolutely nothing to say to that. Every family has its characters. You have the character. You know, there was a line in Family Stone. I'm aging myself. He said in one of his songs there was a kid who grew up who loved to burn and another kid who grew up and loved to learn. I think what's so cool about family units is that yes, we are influences on each other, good and bad. The good kid is an influence on the bad kid and vice versa. That's not a reason to separate a family because they are bad influences on each other. Truly, they outgrow that kind of thing. Unfortunately, sometimes what we do in foster care, we totally write off the older kid. That kid generally suffers more of the abuse. Now, the effort of the department or agency is to save the younger kids by splitting them up and putting them in other homes. If the movie White Islander haven't taught us anything, is those kids are going to develop all kinds of different personalities. Don't think for a second that those kids don't remember they have a mom and a dad and cousins and uncles, that they have relatives. They're not going to outgrow that memory. It's going to always be there. And as soon as those kids are old enough, home is where they're going to go. Whether or not they run away to go home, or they get into trouble, they become angry at everybody ever having a say, or people not listening to them. This is where they tell the police where to go. This is where they tell judges where to go, because judges tore their families apart. Well-meaning lawyers tore their families apart. Well-meaning social workers. Are they any well-meaning social workers? Do social workers really do social work? Seriously, do social workers really do social work? In the 1950s or early 1960s, social workers might have done social work. They might have come in the home, they taught you how to take care of your baby, they taught you how to cook, they taught you things. All social workers do now is come to your home. How are things going? Is he happy here? Have you done the checkups? Has he had his medical? Has he gone to the dentist? How is school? Why is school not doing well? Maybe because you tore the family apart and they're a little angry. Why is he or she being expelled from school? Maybe because you tore the family apart and they're a little angry. Maybe they're disappointed in adults. I've only seen a few social workers, one or two in my foster parenting career, that really had any suggestions or were helpful to the kids in my care. The rest just stopped by and wanted to know if the kids were okay. Do you need a master's degree or a BA for that matter for that? You can send anybody out to the house. You can send somebody retired out to the house and say, hey, do the kids get real therapy? Generally not. The therapists are usually interns. They're there for 3 months, 6 months, and they're gone. And that kid is now got to tell that story over and over again till they get to the point where they don't tell it anymore, or they joke about it, or they embellish it just to see what they can get the therapist to say. They start playing games. Foster care is an absolute mess. I'm not happy today. I'm not happy. I serve on Los Angeles County's Runaway Task Force. I'm going to resign from that task force. Because after what I've seen the last couple of weeks in foster care, I'm not happy. If I was a kid in foster care, I'd run away too. That's not a good message for me to send. But until people start listening to those kids, until schools and agencies and those family foster agencies stop writing off teenagers as though they're a done deal, let's save the rest of the kids, we got a problem. We got a real problem. I don't know the answer. I think I do. I think if we can work with some of these families, we can keep them together. We can keep relationships going. We can help those families get stronger. There is a possibility. I've done it already. I've done it already. I don't understand it. I don't understand some foster parents. You know, it's one thing to save a kid who's been physically and badly abused. But some kids really just had a bad deal in life, and they're in foster care, but their parents really still care, or their parents have changed. Their parents have done a drug treatment program, or they've gotten out of jail, and they're in that courtroom wanting their kids back, and they've done everything. In fact, some of them are remarried and have other kids who are doing well. It just begs the question, where are we? Where are we in all of this? And do social workers really work at healing? Or do they work at stealing? I probably shouldn't post this video blog because I'm having a bad fostering day.